Hey everybody, welcome back. So George over at Maker's Best Friend on Instagram shot me an email and said, hey, how about doing a video on shipping large items? So here we go. I'm gonna do a video on how to ship out large products that you make in your shop. So let's talk shipping big items. I'm gonna break this video up into two sections, crating and shipping. So in my opinion, the most important aspect of the shipping process is the crate. If you have a crappy crate, then I don't care how good the freight company is, the chances that your product is delivered to the client without damage is greatly diminished. So let's take a look at the properties of a crate that will get your product to the client safely and minimize the opportunity for damage. Okay, the standard width of a pallet jack is 27 inches. If you give yourself a little bit of clearance in between that pallet jack, we have 30 inches in between the supports of the pallet. That way the pallet and any forklift can get in and actually lift up your crate. If you don't put a pallet on there and you just have the crate or a box and they have to push it around, the likelihood that it's going to get damaged increases because chances are they're going to use a forklift to push your box around if it's too heavy, and you risk the forks going through your crate and damaging your product. So build yourself a pallet or get yourself a standard pallet and basically put your box on top of that pallet so they can move it around easy. So for this particular crate, we have the option of either laying it down flat or to stand it straight up. What we've learned is when you lay something down flat, you create a flat surface for the freight companies to stack something onto. Again, increasing the risk of damage to your product. So what we found is stand the product up so that you minimize what they can stack on it. Now when I do this, this also creates a barrier at how close things can be pushed up to the product and to the crate. This is one of the reasons why we don't fully enclose this particular product and we can actually just cage the product. We're supported at the top, so if anything fell from the top over, we're supported. If anything fell here, then chances are it's going to hit the wood slats. And one of the issues that we're facing right now is because of the pandemic and the increase in wood prices, is if we were to fully enclose the product that we're shipping out right now, it would cost several $100s just in the crating materials. So what we do is we go to the big box stores and we look for cull lumber. This is a perfect opportunity. Rob's just backing up with a score of some wood. Okay, so this is going to be a perfect opportunity to talk about checking out for wood in the industrial parks in your neighborhood. With the cost of wood right now, it's best if you can go to your hardware stores and find some cull lumber or check the dumpsters around, like warehouses. Make sure you double check that you're not taking someone's pallet they have plans for. But this was a huge score. Robin had just pulled up with a truckload of wood as I'm talking about crates. So yeah, this is a big score for us. This is going to be several pallets. Something else to consider when you're building your crate is when a forklift or pallet jack comes in to pick up your product, do you have enough protection at the end of the product? Now, a lot of times we'll add an additional 6 inches to the end of each side of the product crate. On this case, we've added 2x4s as protectors. So when a forklift or pallet jack comes in, it's going to stop right on that 2x4. And not actually get to the product. A lot of times that's the damage areas where a forklift comes in and hits the end of your product and damages it. So either give yourself enough space in between or really protect those ends. Okay, so let's now get into some of the restrictions that will dictate how you do your crate. And a lot of this is imposed by the freight companies themselves. As I mentioned, protecting the end of your crate is very important, and oftentimes we will go an additional 5 or 6 inches beyond the product crate. Now, when we won't do that is when we reach the length of 95 inches or longer. Anything that is 96 inches or over will get charged an oversized fee by most crate companies. You also have to consider height restrictions. Most of the interior of your trucks are about 96 inches, but if they have a roll-up door, that height is diminished because the roll-up door doesn't open up to the full height of the trailer. Now, if you have two open doors on the back side, you could possibly get in 96 inches, but the taller you go, the chances are increased if you're going to damage your product. Now, this water feature that you're looking at right now, this is 9 feet tall. There's no way that it's going to go inside of a regular freight truck. So we have two options. We get a flatbed truck and we load it onto a flatbed truck, which is going to cost probably about $1,500 to $1,800 going from here to, say, California, or I hire someone here locally to drive this out. So consider your height. Now we have two other water features. One is 7 and the other is 8. Now, the one on the left, which is 7, we could actually send that one out, but what we will do is we will actually lay that on its side so that we lessen the height of the water feature, and we'll build the crate very similar to this. Same thing with the water feature on the right. It's 8 feet tall. Then if you add a water basin, that again makes it 9 feet tall, but it's only 6 feet wide, so we'll lay that down, and so that our max height is just about a little over 6 feet. That's doable inside of a freight truck. Okay, so now that we've covered the crating aspect of the whole shipping process, you got to make sure that you don't go over 96 inches because you will get an oversized fee, and you have to watch the height of whatever you're shipping. Anything that I would say that's over 7 feet, you risk getting damaged on top of. So maybe come up with an alternative. And we also talked about the wood. Either you can purchase it from the big box stores, check their cull section, or run around town in the industrial areas. Pick up some pallets, extend them, break them down, use them for your use. But that way you can save your cost on the crating aspect, but also make sure that you're using good materials to protect your product. Let's talk shipping now. Something to keep in mind also is you're going to have to weigh your crate. This is part of the input information in order for you to get a proper quote from the freight company. So pick yourself up a digital scale or find some way of actually weighing your product. I guarantee if you don't weigh your product and get the accurate weight, they will, and you will get charged on the back end. So weigh it, throw on a couple extra pounds just to make sure that you've got yourself some cushion, but get yourself a scale to weigh your product. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I'm going to tell you that I'm going to talk about a company called FreightCenter.com. They are not paying me, they are not giving me anything free, any discounts or any breaks whatsoever. I'm just going to be talking about them because it's the company that I use and I am extremely happy with them. They have a fairly easy process when you are shipping crates, and they get out there and they find some of the cheapest prices for you. Now, the reason I go through a broker is I'm a small company compared to a lot of the bigger companies out there. I may ship out once or twice a week if I've got a lot of things going on in my shop, but there may be a month when I don't have anything going out. Trying to go to some of these big freight companies like R&L or Saia or Roadrunner or whatnot, you have to ship out a lot of stuff before they start giving you decent discounts. Going through a shipping broker actually helps you be part of the larger group. And when you ship out as a larger group, you get discounts. And so this is why I actually use FreightCenter. I have tried 3 or 4 others over the years, and I keep coming back to them. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to give you the name and the extension number for my personal shipping broker. She is incredible. She has caught a few things that I have missed. If there are issues with the price or there's current discounts going on, she clues me into those. And when you have a small business and shipping is a part of that business, it's great to have someone who is going to watch your back and protect your capital and protect your income and your investment. So stay tuned to the end of this video and I'll give you her name, and maybe you can use her. She benefits, you benefit, we all benefit. Let's talk shipping. Okay, so as mentioned, I use FreightCenter when I set my shipping up. Now, on FreightCenter, you can actually choose between LTL freight shipping. Now, this is where you have a crate that goes inside the truck along with other crates from other senders. This is typically what I use. Or if you're sending out
a bunch of crates that you may end up using the entire truck. Or if you have something that is much smaller, I believe it's 150 pounds or less, you can send it by parcel or specialized, which is if you're sending something that is delicate and needs some special care, like a white glove treatment, then you'd go with specialized freight. So the first thing you would need to do is actually create an account. Now, I have an account and all of my information here is just saved. So we'll go ahead and log in. And once you have an account, you're going to be brought to my FreightCenter window. Now, these are all shipments that I have recently sent out. Plano, Rosedale, Glenville, Ellensville, Little Rock. And this is what you're going to get each time you make a shipment. And you'll see this get documents and a BOL packet. You're going to have to print some information off that. That's going to give you your bill of lading, and that's what a driver is going to need before they can take your shipment. But let's go ahead and walk through the process of actually setting up a shipment. I have a door that you actually saw created here in the video that I need to ship out. So you go to get a quote. And it's going to ask you all these questions to kind of fill out. Now, I'm only shipping one door. Obviously, if you had more items that you're going to ship out, this is where you would actually increase that number to, you know, the quantity that you're shipping out. But I'm shipping out one. Now, here's how you pick what you're shipping and how it's created. So this is a pallet, and it's not a standard pallet, so you choose other size. Now, sometimes if you just make a big crate, that you'll choose your crate, or if it's in, like, say, a cardboard box, or maybe you have something else that you're shipping in. A lot of this may deal with, like, you know, those smaller parcel size shipments. But for this particular shipment, we're going to be using a pallet. Then you want to add your weight. Okay, so now I know that the weight of my crate and the door is roughly 260, 270, but I'm putting in 285 just to give me a little bit of cushion. Now I want to make sure that my length is inside proper. It is 95. So again, I'm under that 96 inches. Now be careful here. If you're 95 and a half, they may round up to 96 and say that it is an oversized parcel. So make sure that you're 95 or maybe 95 and a quarter. But if you get over 95 and a half, you run into that area where they may decide, okay, you're oversized. On your width, my actual width is 32 and a half, but I'm putting 33, and my actual height was 45 and a half, so I'm putting 46. I don't rarely mess with these here. Because the way I make my crates, you can't really stack it anyway, but if you push non-stackable or you push hazmat, there will be additional cost. Here in the States, obviously we use inches or feet, so I keep it simple and just use inches. Now the freight class will automatically calculate based on your weight and your dimensions. The higher the rate class, what I've noticed is the higher the price. Now, because I'm shipping out a door, and I know that I've shipped out doors before, I believe that my freight class is 200. They've recently changed door freight classes and have increased the cost because they know that more people are shipping them, and it's just another way to ding you with the cost. Okay, so now you have the quantity, how it's being shipped, the weight, the dimensions. It'll automatically do this for you. Now you want to figure out, okay, where are you picking up from? Well, I'm picking up from my shop, and that is the zip code for my shop. Now, I'm a business, but I don't have a dock or a forklift, so I'm a business without a dock or a forklift. I'm going to scroll down here real quick. Now, if you've got a couple extra hands, sometimes you can pick up your items and you can pick them up into the truck yourself, but I add a lift gate, which of course is an extra fee, and sometimes trucks will show up with the lift gate and sometimes they won't, so you kind of have to be prepared either way. Then you want to input the information for the delivery address. Okay, and just like the pickup information, you want to put in the zip code of the client, of where your crate is going to go. And in this case, it's Milwaukee. Now I know that this is a residential, which will automatically select residential delivery, which you will automatically get a fee for. And because it's residential, they most of the time will automatically choose liftgate. But I go ahead and choose it on the front end. That way it gives me a better calculation. Now that I have all this information, I get the quote. This is what's nice about FreightCenter is you put your information in and it's going to find the best quotes for you at the time for your product. Now as it searches, that's going to come back with a list of all of these. You have Roadrunner for $588, you have SDs for $636, you have T-Force, which is actually UPS Freight. They recently bought T-Force and so have combined services. Now, I can say from experience that Roadrunner Transportation, although they are the cheaper, their transit times are a little less guaranteed because a lot of times they will throw the crates onto a rail line, so it's going to travel by train. And you may go from, say, Arizona to California, but it jumps on the train in California and then goes all the way to Chicago and then comes back to Northern California. So it takes a little bit longer. But if you notice, when you are hovering over that, it will tell you what those prices are for. So $313 for the actual freight cost, liftgate for $72, another liftgate at $72, residential $64, and of course a fuel charge. So it breaks down where those costs are for you. Now, for this particular situation, I'm going to choose SDs. Like I said, it's a little bit more, but I trust SDs. I've used them before, and I have, just based on that information, that's who I'm going to go with. So I will select standard LTL. Guaranteed time over here, you pay a little bit more, but again, you just never know if it's going to be guaranteed because it goes over the weekend or maybe there's bad weather or whatnot. So you're paying a lot more money for something that's truly not really guaranteed. So let's choose SDs, and that's going to take me to the next window, which will allow me to fill out the information in more detail as far as what is the product. When do I want it picked up? So now it is the weekend, it's the 17th, so it's Saturday, so I want to make sure that this gets picked up on a Monday. It automatically selects the next Monday for me because that's when my area picks up. They don't pick up on the weekends. So 19th is good for me. I'm usually there, say 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, so 8 a.m. is fine. And because it's hotter, I don't like to stay around the shop any longer than I need to, so I may put in, say, 4 p.m. And that way it'll push the guys to get there a little bit quicker. This is the information that you're going to need from your shop. Now I actually have some of this information saved, and it'll give me a drop-down box of the different addresses that I have saved. Now this is my business address where I want it to be picked up, and it's going to automatically fill in everything that I need: my company name, my email address, my cell phone number, and the address to where it's going to be picked up. Now here, this is my suite number, and I just move it over here into the address number 2, the city, the Arizona state. And now we move over to where am I shipping it to. Now this is not a company, this is going to a specific person. So I will type in his name, and for his security, I will block out this information, but for the most part, I think you understand exactly what we're doing here. We're just typing in the information that needs to be put in, and once you have all the information filled out, you will go on to the next window. Now, looking at this says that it is a suite, which means this could possibly be a business. Now, this is a good example of where if you go to Google Maps and let's type in this person's information, Milwaukee. Now, this is going to show me where this comes up to, and in fact, it looks like a business. This is not a residential like I thought it would be, and so we are right here. It could be a business, or maybe it's a condo. Maybe that's what we're dealing with here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. It looks like it could be a business, but it also could be a residential. It could be a condo. It could be a townhome or apartment. I am going to leave this just like this, and this is where it's helpful to have a shipping broker, because they're going to dive further into this, and they will let me know whether it's residential or it's business, and they can make the adjustments on their side. So before you can go any further, you have to put in the client email address. Then it's going to allow you to continue. Okay, so your next window is the shipment details. This is going to let you explain what it is you're shipping. So I'm shipping a steel door with all of the necessary hardware, and it's crated and attached to a wooden pallet. As opposed to crated, let me just say it's protected by a wooden cage. Let's go up here since it doesn't have autocorrect. Okay, steel door with all the necessary hardware, and it's protected by a wooden cage and is attached to a wooden pallet. So that pretty much describes what the shipment is. It's new. They will figure out the code when they get there. So this is again, this will help if you have a shipping broker, because they figure out all these NMFC codes. Bit of a tongue twister. Commodity. Now this is just me. I always just put miscellaneous or other, but my broker, she goes in and fills out some of that information for me. Now, shipping insurance. Shipping insurance is totally up to you. But in my opinion, I have shipped out items that have been damaged and I have paid the price. So honestly, for what FreightCenter actually charges you for shipping insurance, I would just say pay it. Because up to $10,000 or up to $12,000, I think, it's only $55. So, okay, there's the cost of the door. Now I can apply that, and it's going to calculate the insurance, which is $55. Come on, really? For $55, you know, you have at least some guarantee that if it does get damaged, you have some action you can take. So make sure that you choose insurance, put the declared value in, and then select yes or no if that's what you want to do. It's going to ask you to look at the terms and conditions, and if you agree with those, you continue on. Now you continue. Boom. This is going to take you to your payment method. Now I obviously have some credit cards in here that are part of my account, and that way I know they get paid. And my total cost to ship this door is $691. Now trust me people, it's pricey to ship out your products, but this cost goes back to the client. So when I did this door, I gave them a price for the door and then said you will also be paying for the crating and the shipping. So they expect to be paying a price for shipping. So this will get charged on top of the cost of the door, and that cost goes to the client. Therefore, you are not out on your profit side. Once you have your price and you select that you agree, you continue, and boom, there it is. It is now in the system. All right, there's my shipping ID, and I'm going to go back to this window here. All right, As you can see, we just set up Milwaukee. There's the shipping ID again. This is when we did this. And now somebody over at FreightCenter is going to take a look at this. It's on the weekend, so my broker's not there. So they're pretty quick about doing this. But because it's going back Monday, they may not get out the documents Monday. I usually wait until my broker's there and I know she can take a look at it, because she's going to catch a lot of the mistakes that I may make. But once it's finalized, like I mentioned, you're going to go to documents and you'll get this package. Click on that, and what'll happen is it'll download into your computer. Now let's just open up this last one. So this was my water feature that just recently went out. All right, so FreightCenter is going to give you these documents. Now there's 13 documents in this package, and it basically just outlines everything that you have going on. Estimated shipping cost, 2 bills of lading, your terms and conditions, and your shipping labels. So if I go down to page 3, let's just do this real quick. So there's my cost for the water feature. It also breaks it down and it shows you what the line haul is, the insurance, the lift gate fees, and all that kind of fun stuff. But this is the gold right here. You need your bill of lading, okay? Your bill of lading is what the driver will take with them when they need to pick up your crate. So R&L Carriers picked it up. They picked it up from me, and it's going to Plano, Texas. All right. When the driver shows up, you will have already signed and dated right here on the form. On both forms, he will take one and you will keep the other. Now, FreightCenter makes this kind of easy, so if you go all the way down to number 13, they provide some shipping labels for you. So you can cut these out, put them on your crate, attach them, and then that way you know that this code represents your crate or is attached to your crate. Once I staple these to the crate, I also will take this information with the address and this BOL number, and I will write that on the crate, just in case these labels fall off or get lost in transit.
Okay, so that's shipping and crating in a nutshell. I know it was a long video, but there's a lot that goes into that. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I was going to let you know who my shipping broker is. Her name is Deidre Morgan. Her extension 1082. So when you call FreightCenter, make sure you connect with Deidre, and she'll make sure that your shipments get to where they need to go at the cheapest price possible. And she's going to look out for you. Okay, so I know I'm in a different location. A lot of this footage was shot in the shop today, but by the time I got to this point in the video, it was already pretty hot. I'm at the house now, having a beer, about to go jump in the pool. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. It is greatly appreciated. If you haven't subscribed already, it would be greatly appreciated if you did. And if you'd like to leave a comment, leave those down below. And hey, let me know what kind of videos you want to see. That's exactly why I did this video, because George was interested in it. And I would also like to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. Barry and Marlene Rush, Judy Clothier, Funkiss Artistic Creations, and John Lettington. Those folks have been with me for quite a while. They support what I do. And if you'd like to do the same thing, check out my Patreon account. Now we'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna enjoy my beer and go jump in the pool.